Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get started, I just want to let this be known that I have started and restarted this video so many times trying to figure out what this quote is, and it makes me appreciate our class time. However, just starting with the beginning, a couple of things that stuck out to me was the impure, indifferent twilight eyes. It stuck out to me for a couple reasons. I don't believe at this point of the story they had sex. So I found it quite interesting I don't think they had sex. So I found it quite interesting how he could see her eyes as impure. Kind of foreshadowing or alluding to the fact that something impure like was going to happen. Also, I'm kind of stuck on while we moan and die. I still haven't come to a conclusion on what that may mean. Another thing that I noticed as well was what's the matter with misses instead of what's the matter with kisses, and then show white ray when it should be show right way. And then it goes on to this French or Latin or something, because when I put it into Google Translate, it detected it originally as Latin, and then it just stopped detecting what it meant. So I kind of ignored the translation and just kind of looked at it as if it was English and tried to compare words like pausada. I thought of pausing. So that was another thing that stuck out to me. And then when I originally first started typing it into Google Translate, thrusting popped up when I was typing in Seves, Skindis, pausada. So there's a couple of things going on right now. And then, like, right before, she says all in good time. So I'm going to assume that they are not kissing right now. You would think so because he's saying show in the right way, but all in good time makes me assume that it hasn't got to that good time yet. But then after all of that, I can see that Humber is kind of describing his surroundings. And throughout the book, Humbert's very vivid in the way he describes things. So I'm just going to assume that whatever's happening right now is something that probably shouldn't be happening. And only thing that he can do is describe what's going on around him. And then he concludes with, but of course, in another moment, I might have committed some dreadful blunder. Fortunately, she returned to the treasure box. So this sentence is really, really confusing to me, because what could have been a dreadful mistake? Because I looked up blunder and it was a gross, stupid, or careless mistake. And then fortunately, she returned the treasure box. So based on my previous assumption, the treasure box is not his mouth. So I'm going to assume that the treasure box is his penis. And then following the quote, I think that's kind of what gives it away that it may be his penis, because just putting two and two together. So it says, from the bathroom, where it took me quite a time to shift back into normal gear for a humdrum purpose, I heard standing drumming, retaining my breath, my Lolita's ooze and geese of girlish delight. So far, that's what I've been able to put together. I just noticed he said spoonerette, and you can associate spooning with cuddling. However, I don't think that they were just cuddling. The words around each other don't imply that they were cuddling. It implies that they were doing something else, and I honestly do not know. Hopefully I was able to give Carrie a little bit more insight on the quote. Hopefully watching everybody else's analyzation of the quote will help in mine as well. Next, I'm going to start with Justin's quote. So I questioned Humbert's happiness because a couple pages before he mentioned saying, "Charlotte, I began to understand you," and he was referring to Lolita's attitude and behavior. Reading this quote, it did make me question a little bit more, because he named off so many bad things, like despite our tiffs, despite her nastiness, despite all the fuss and faces she made, and the vulgarity and the danger and the horrible hopelessness of it all, I still dwelt deep in my elected paradise, a paradise whose skies were the color of hell flames, but still a paradise. I think one thing I think he's like half and half in a way. I think he's happy, but I also think he's unhappy. He's happy because one, he mentions thraldom, which is pretty much the enslavement of Lolita. So he has that control over her, something that he probably likes. So I think that's one reason why he is happy. And I also think he's aware of what he's gotten himself into. It's like right before the quote ends, he said, "In my elected paradise," which pretty much means that he was aware of what he was going to get himself into, and it was all going to be worth it because because Lolita fit the perfect characteristics for a nymphet. So to be honest, I think he's happy with Lolita. However, I don't think he's happy with the way in which Lolita has been acting. I hope that answers your question. But just based on the context of the quote and based on the context of the whole book and so far how we've read, I think he's pretty half and half with everything. So next is Amber's question, and I think that he addresses the reader like this because he wants to be sensitive to Lolita, and I don't think he wants to say anything that will, I guess, push her away, because for him to say drop that moody nonsense, I'm sure that would make Lolita feel, I guess, some type of way about what he was saying. So, and then for him to say, the reader will notice what pains I took to speak Lo's tongue, pretty much says that he didn't want to really question her mood. However, I guess at whatever point in the relationship, he didn't want to offend her, I'm going to assume. Yeah. I also think that because this isn't his first time doing this in the book, each time he addresses the reader, he wants the reader to be able to see something good in himself. So I definitely think that plays a part too. Not only he wants to show that sensitivity he has towards Lolita, but he also wants to have the reader definitely in his favor, just based on previous things he said about himself in the book that was towards the reader. Yeah, I hope this addresses your question. Hopefully my answer, well, part of my answer will be included in somebody else's answer and probably a little bit more expanded on. I'm looking forward to watching everybody else's videos and comparing answers and hearing answers to my question. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.